Hey, why were you both in the bathroom together?
My 4-year-old daughter pointed at my husband and my older sister, uttering these curious words. To me, it was an innocent question, but for my husband, it seemed like a bombshell. He tried to maintain composure, forcing a smile, but the panic in his eyes was evident. Sweat beaded on his forehead, streaming down like a flood.
I saw you. What were you doing there?
Her relentless innocence left my husband flustered. Suspiciously, he stammered, and I resolved to uncover the secret hidden behind that bathroom door. I'm Olivia, a 33-year-old and working in a major food company in a regular position. My husband, Michael, and I met 6 years ago through a mutual acquaintance. Our connection blossomed, and a year later, we tied the knot. Following my pregnancy, we used our combined savings as a down payment and secured a mortgage to buy an apartment. Soon after, I gave birth to our daughter, Mia, and returned to work after maternity leave. Balancing work, household chores, and parenting was a juggling act, but luckily, my husband cherished our daughter and was incredibly supportive. Living near both sets of parents, mine and my husband's, plus my sister and her spouse, we had a strong support network. Especially my sister, Sophia, who didn't work and had no children of her own, doted on Mia like her own. When Mia turned 3, I was entrusted with a crucial work project that often required weekend overtime. At times like that, my sister would come over to our house for my lonely daughter, and often spent time together with my husband and daughter. I felt immense gratitude toward her. Thanks to this arrangement, I successfully completed the project and even secured a promotion. Everything seemed perfect, and I basked in happiness. Little did I know that betrayal from someone I trusted would shatter this idyllic life. At that moment, I couldn't fathom the cruel reality awaiting me. It was my daughter's 4th birthday party, and our home was filled with not only our immediate family but also both sets of grandparents and my sister's family. As everyone celebrated and watched our daughter open presents, she beamed with joy, and the adults reveled in her growth. It was a harmonious and pleasant time. However, the atmosphere took an odd turn when my sister excused herself to use the bathroom. My daughter suddenly asked,
Why doesn't Daddy go with Sophia?
Her words caught my sister off guard, and she paused. Why would Daddy go with her? Going to the bathroom is something you do alone, right? I responded absent-mindedly, assuming my daughter was referring to her toilet training days, even though she was now capable of going by herself. But then my daughter uttered unexpected words.
But I saw you both go together the other day.
Really? I asked, taken aback.
Yeah,
She continued innocently.
I saw you. But why were you both in the bathroom together? You're adults. That's weird.
Her smile remained intact as she questioned us. What was Mia talking about? Confused, I glanced at my husband. His reaction was evident. He looked startled, eyes darting left and right, sweat forming on his forehead.
Oh, last Sunday, right? We were fixing a clogged toilet together.
He stammered. My sister chimed in.
Yes, that's right. It was quite a challenge.
My husband forced a dry laugh, but he kept fidgeting intensely and seemed restless. My sister wore a similar strained smile, nodding along. The other adults, including me, were speechless, taken aback by this unusual exchange.
Let's watch a DDD with Daddy over there, Mia.
My husband quickly changed the subject.
Yay!
Mia agreed. My sister added.
Almost forgot. I was heading to the bathroom.
They hurriedly left the room, escaping the awkward tension they had created. Something seemed suspicious. The truth was, my husband occasionally told silly lies. It was trivial stuff, pretending to shower when he hadn't, blaming our daughter for eating my stored snacks from the fridge, and other minor things. When I sensed his deception, I'd usually respond with a nonchalant, "Oh, really?" But in those moments, he'd invariably start babbling with feeble excuses, digging his own grave. And without fail, his eyes would dart around, and he'd break into a sweat. Doubts about my husband led me to have a conversation with my daughter after everyone had left that day. "Hey, Mia, did you see the toilet clogged at home?"
I don't know. Daddy and Sophia always lock the bathroom.
Always? Haven't Daddy and Sophia gone to the bathroom together more than once? Sophia was my sister. Mia nodded, confirming that my husband and sister frequently went to the bathroom together. Her innocent words left me feeling uneasy. Plus, I'd never heard my husband mention a clogged toilet before. What could my husband and sister be doing in there every time? Surely not. Despite my growing suspicion, I dismissed the thought. After all, it was my sister. Betrayal from her seemed inconceivable. Torn between emotions, I decided to investigate their actions for now. During a weekend overtime shift, I decided to set up the baby monitor camera we used when our daughter was an infant. After returning home, I checked the recorded footage and was left utterly speechless. My husband and sister, wearing expressions I'd never seen before, affectionate and intimate, had their arms around each other, behaving inappropriately. Even that alone was behavior I didn't want in front of our daughter. But then, from the audio data on the baby monitor, I heard the decisive words,
"I love you."
Me too.
They exchanged kisses, completely unaware of our daughter watching. Caught red-handed! I screamed internally. Eventually, my husband's words,
"I'll take you to heaven today too,"
accompanied by their intertwined hands, led them toward the bathroom. They didn't return to the living room for quite some time. How dare they engage in such indecent behavior right under our daughter's nose? What heaven are they talking about? Both of them will pay in hell. Mark my words. I vowed never to forgive my husband and sister, igniting the flames of revenge. After much internal struggle, I decided to gather decisive evidence of the affair. While the baby monitor footage alone should suffice, I knew that merely confronting my husband with a kiss wouldn't be enough. He'd likely counter with excuses. I couldn't bear to hear his flimsy explanations. Yet, installing a camera in the bathroom felt too invasive. So, I set a trap. Conveniently, our daughter had an overnight stay at daycare scheduled for the following weekend. I fabricated a sudden business trip, and my husband's eyes lit up. "I'm sorry for always leaving everything to you."
"Don't worry about it. I'm more concerned about you working too hard. Take care of yourself."
"Yes, thank you. You should be careful too." My words carried a different meaning, but he seemed oblivious, already imagining something else, as if my words didn't reach him. On the appointed day, after dropping our daughter off at daycare, I headed to a nearby diner. Checking the baby monitor footage on my phone while keeping an eye on the street, I saw my sister eagerly approaching our house. Soon, through the camera, I witnessed my husband answering the intercom and welcoming her inside. A few seconds later, they both returned to the living room, completely undressed. My, how hungry are they? I recoiled at their audacity, then hurried home to confront them. As I unlocked the door and entered the house, I noticed discarded clothing strewn across the entrance. However, there was no sign of the two individuals in the living room. Could it be? In our bedroom. Trembling with anger, I headed toward the bedroom. But just then, I caught sight of a figure on the balcony. It seemed that both of them had sensed my return and instinctively fled to the balcony. Through the glass, I observed my husband and sister crouched in the corner, peering fearfully in my direction. Witnessing my husband's frightened eyes and my sister's slack-jawed expression, I was overwhelmed with intense revulsion and locked the door, leaving them both outside. He had finally realized that hiding was futile. He, one hand awkwardly covering a certain part of his body, tapped on the window, pleading,
Olivia, it's not what you think. I want to clear up the misunderstanding, so please let me in for now.
My sister clung to his back like a baby koala, desperately trying to conceal herself. Hey, why are you still talking about misunderstandings? This is a caught-in-the-act situation. My husband retorted.
We hadn't done anything yet. It was just an attempt, so cut us some slack.
Don't play games with me. Do you think I'm unaware of what you both usually do in the bathroom?
That's a misunderstanding too. We were really just fixing a clogged toilet.
Exasperated by my husband's poor excuses, I revealed that I had set up a surveillance camera in the living room to watch what was going on. I saw both of you being affectionate. You even went as far as kissing, didn't you?
Hugs and kisses are just friendly gestures. I wanted to raise Mia to be friendly with people.
Cheating doesn't fall under friendly gestures. So why did you both head to the bathroom afterward?
That's because the toilet was clogged. We were planning to contact the manufacturer since it happened too frequently.
I relentlessly pressed my husband for answers, but he continued with flimsy excuses. He refused to acknowledge his guilt, and I was thoroughly exasperated by his unyielding attitude. As I remained silent, my husband switched tactics, using a soft voice to say, "It's cold," or "I might catch a cold." But when he realized I wasn't budging, he suddenly grew aggressive. His demeanor changed, and he pounded on the glass, shouting at me.
Enough! You think you can just stay quiet and get away with it? If you don't open up, I'll break this glass.
I sighed at his despicable behavior. Fine, then admit your relationship with Sophia. Today isn't the first time, is it?
Fine, I'll admit it. Sophia and I have been getting close in the bathroom for the past 6 months. Don't make a fuss over something so trivial.
Wow, now you're just being defiant. You're truly despicable. As I unlocked the window, my husband and sister leaped inside like startled boars.
Hey, how could you do this?
He lunged at me, but in the next moment, he noticed the figure behind me and widened his eyes.
Dad! And everyone else!
In fact, on my way from the diner to home, I had contacted my parents, in-laws, and my sister's husband. Without needing a detailed explanation, they immediately understood the situation, having witnessed my husband and sister's strange behavior during our daughter's birthday party. They rushed over to support me.
You shameless scoundrel!
My husband, cowed by his father's angry voice, had lost all his bravado. Just then, our doorbell rang. It was a police officer. Apparently, a neighbor had reported suspicious activity on the balcony. My husband, clad in nothing but a bath towel, profusely apologizing to the police, curious neighbors, and onlookers who had gathered. Eventually, after the police left, my husband returned to the living room alongside my sister, both still wrapped in bath towels. They faced the stern reprimands of our respective parents.
I'm sorry. It was just a momentary lapse. Olivia doesn't pay attention to me because of work, and I got carried away.
I'm truly sorry too. My husband has been busy, and I felt lonely.
Despite their tearful apologies, they continued to frame the situation as if my brother-in-law and I were somehow at fault.
Do you really think those excuses will fly?
However, my feelings for my husband had long since cooled, and I didn't even feel anger anymore. Enough. Let's get a divorce, I declared, thrusting the divorce papers I had already obtained from the registry office toward my husband. At that moment, my brother-in-law chimed in, also mentioning his divorce with my sister. Feel free to use these, I said, handing him an extra set of divorce papers.
Wait a minute.
Seeing the divorce papers, my husband's face paled, and he clung to me.
Olivia, I'm sorry. I truly love only you. Let's start anew, like flushing away the past, just as we do with the toilet lever.
What? What are you saying now? I can't forgive you for doing something indecent in Mia's presence.
I had no choice. Sophia kept pestering me. Her persistence wore me out.
Suddenly, my sister, who had been sobbing quietly, changed her expression. She grabbed my husband's hair and shouted at him.
Hey, don't blame others. You were the one who made the first move, weren't you?
Shut up. I thought it was just innocent physical contact. But you took it seriously. You love-struck fool.
Huh? Which one? I said after Mia took her nap. But weren't you the one who couldn't wait and lured me to the bathroom?
That's rich, coming from you. I suggested going to the bath. But wasn't it you who said the toilet would be more thrilling?
The two began an ugly quarrel, trying to pin the blame on each other. Enough already. It doesn't matter who, it's just disgraceful. After that, they both hung their heads in shame as they were scolded by everyone present, following my lead. And even then, they continued to mumble some resistance, but the more they spoke, the more they were bombarded with criticism. In the end, we both signed the divorce papers with our parents as guarantors. Shortly thereafter, divorces were successfully finalized for both my husband and me, as well as my sister and brother-in-law. I demanded alimony of $20,000 and child support of $70,000 from my husband, as well as $35,000 for the apartment we bought together, and $14,000 in compensation from my sister. My husband and sister were each sued by my brother-in-law for $14,000 in damages. Meanwhile, the scandal had become neighborhood gossip, and my husband, unable to continue living in the apartment, was forced to sell it, leaving him with a debt of $200,000, including the remaining mortgage. His embarrassing reputation had even reached his workplace, leading him to resign soon after. Now, my husband and sister, estranged from their parents, share a rundown apartment without a bath but with a toilet. They struggle to repay their debts and constantly argue. On the other hand, I return to my parents' home with my daughter. Her grandparents still treat her kindly, so she doesn't feel lonely. Grateful for everyone's support, I've resolved to raise my daughter well and continue working diligently.
How did you find this story? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Until next time in the next video.